Hello, everybody. I'm going to give everyone a second to join in, and then we will start talking. Hello. It is Thursday, which means it is live sale day. I'm going to wait for some more people to join in, but we are going to be talking about scrying and all the different ways that you can use different tools to scry. It is, for those who don't know, it is a divination method similar to, and by divination, it's things like pendulums, tarot cards. Wow, I'm blanking on all the different divination methods. Bone throwing, charm casting, etc. Scrying is a divination method, and what you do is you ultimately relax your mind and let pictures come to your mind's eye. So, for example, something that I remember doing as a kid, and most people remember doing as a kid, is looking up at the sky and looking up at the clouds and being able to see different animals, shapes, like different formations that the cloud would make, and you would be like, oh, that looks like an elephant, or that looks like a giraffe. And that is a form of scrying. And then ultimately, each figure or object that you see has a specific meaning that you can either give it yourself or that is already given to that image. It's a lot of things that you might be like, I didn't know that was a form of divination. Yeah, you can look up at the sky and see what it says. You can look into a bowl of water. That is also a form of scrying. And I'll talk about kind of like the most common one that you see most often. So what you got on this table right here is our clear crystal balls. They are crystal clear, not many imperfections on the inside. And by the way, they are not crystal. They are glass. They are made out of glass so that they don't have many imperfections on the inside. The clearer the glass, the easier it is to scry. So that's something you'll notice. So if you buy a crystal ball, unless it is specified and or really, really expensive, it is not a real crystal. Don't let people lie to you. So what we have on this table, we have a couple different crystal balls. Everything on the table is available. TikTok, unfortunately, it is not. These items are not in our TikTok shop. But if you would like to claim anything on the table, the rules of the live are, once I show the product, I will then tell you the price of the product. If you want it, you will then type claim in the comments with the price and what it is. So like I look at the crystal ball reading book, and let's just say the price is $15. I don't know how much it is, but you would just say claim 15 crystal ball reading book. From there, we will then need to get your shipping information. So we'll send you a message. Just send us your email. We'll send an invoice through PayPal. Once your item is paid for, we'll get all of your shipping information, and then we will send it out your way. A claim is a commitment to pay. If you do not plan on paying, um, you will then be blocked from future live sales. So we take it very seriously. So if you want something, know that you are committing to pay for it. If there's anything that you would like to see first on the table, feel free to point it out. I have 3 different crystal balls with the holders up there. If you do purchase a crystal ball, it does come with the holder. And you can mix and match them if you would like. Let's see, what else do I got here? I've got a black obsidian scrying mirror that is also used as a form of scrying. You can use clear glass, or you can use all black, pitch black surfaces. I have a skull over in the corner. For those who don't know me, I do skull scrying, which is a little bit different. Ultimately, with that, you would look onto either the top of the skull where there's less imperfections, or look into the actual cranial cavity of the skull to make out shapes on the different like fissures and bumps in the skull. I also have a mirror. You can use a mirror for scrying as well. I have a couple different books on crystal ball reading, and I also have some black ink, and I'll talk about how you can use that in scrying. Give me 1 second. I believe I forgot something. Okay, so I went out there to go grab some black obsidian spheres, and they're all gone. So they were taken. But I do have one. I have one guy. All right. Does anyone practice any scrying in their divination practice? Is it something you already do? Is it something you have questions about? Feel free to ask any questions you may have. I am all about questions. Otherwise, I'm talking to myself for 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm not fun to have full conversations with just myself. So scrying, you clear your mind and let your body and mind relax onto, usually this is what you would call disassociation, right? So you basically disassociate into this object that is usually a clear, non-flawed object majority of the time, so that you really can focus in on the space in front of you or the object in front of you. Hello, how are you? So that's why the crystal ball is usually the most common thing that you see. It's clear, right? Fun fact about crystal balls: do not leave them out uncovered. With a crystal ball, you either want to leave it in a side or place in your room that does not have any light that hits it. Otherwise, you could end up causing a fire, like how a magnifying glass, after it hits the sun and the glass hits a certain part of the surrounding area, it can reflect the sun, thus causing a fire. So cover your crystal balls if you have them. The clear ones, the glass ones. I don't know if quartz itself can cause that, but glass for sure. So that is your fun fact of the day. So the black ink I have on the table, it's right next to the scrying mirror, right? So you can also use water to scry. So the best thing to do is to get a black bowl or a clear bowl and fill it with water. And you can add some black ink drops to it so that it turns the water black. And you can use that to scry. So you would just look into the bowl of water. If you don't have black ink, you can just use a bowl of water itself. You don't have to even add anything to it. Usually a black bowl is the best because it doesn't reflect anything. There's usually not any flaws in it. You don't want to use something that has prints on it because then your mind ends up focusing on the prints and the patterns and the flaws, and it's hard to then focus and let your mind relax into the object. So the clearer, the less distracting, the better. So no one practices scrying. I'm not getting anybody that's jumping in as far as that goes. I personally, other than the skull scrying, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge with scrying myself. It's not something I've really stepped into just yet. But we do have someone at the shop who does a lot of scrying. That is Nick. Nick is relatively good at scrying. He always has a black scrying mirror with him. It's an excellent tool. If you are a person that can really focus in on basically nothing and let your mind relax, you can be excellent at scrying. A lot of people, the most common thing is tarot, and some people have a hard time with different forms of divination. So that's why it's awesome that there's other ways to practice divination, so that, something that might work for somebody, your friend, might not work for you. Something that might work for you might not work for your friend. So there's different options here. If you have an imagination, if you see pictures in like symbolisms in different things, scrying might be something that you like. For someone who is maybe easily distracted, has a hard time focusing, scrying might be a little difficult. But for those that like to let their mind wander, this might be up your alley. So again, you can look up at the sky and scry in the clouds if there's clouds nearby, and see what your mind kind of makes up, see what shapes that you see, what shapes are close to each other. That is a way of scrying. There is fire scrying as well, looking into a big fire or a candle. Big fires tend to be the most common thing, like a big bonfire. It allows for more surface area, bigger fires, and then you can see shapes in the flames. Sometimes people will see whole shapes in the flames. They'll see things move, and that is another form of scrying. So 2 forms of scrying that you don't need to spend any money, right? Again, same thing with the water bowl scrying. You don't need much other than a black bowl or a clear bowl and water. That's it. So the crystal balls I have on the table, all have different stands. So this is what we're looking at when we see a crystal ball. You're going to see the reflection of everything in this. She's heavy, but she is clear, very minuscule, tiny. I see like it's one singular bubble in this guy. But this is like what you see in the movies where they're like, I'm looking into the crystal ball and the crystal ball is showing me shapes. It's their mind, right? The crystal ball itself isn't going to show you anything. This is your mind having something to focus on where you can then look into the crystal ball and see things, right? If you are interested in this one in particular, it comes with this really cute tree of life stand. Crystal balls are also known as gazing balls as well. So if you see gazing balls, crystal balls, it is the exact same thing. You gaze into it. This guy right here with the tree of life stand is $45. Sorry, TikTok's yelling at me. Okay. We might lose TikTok for a second. They're like, we don't like what you're showing right now. Like, all right. Okay, TikTok. All right. All right. So we have that one. Another guy. They're all around the same-ish size, I believe, other than this guy, but we'll check them out. Yeah, these guys are around the same. This one comes with the Mother, Maiden, and Crone crystal ball holder. So we've got Mother, Maiden. Where's Crone? There she is. Or Maiden, Mother, Crone. And it's really well detailed. I'm a fan. This one is also $45. Again, this comes with the stand and the crystal ball. Get that one. And then this one is our smallest one. And this one comes with a, ooh, cute. It's a tiny little zodiac holder. So it's got all the different zodiacs, the symbols, with also the like depictions at the bottom. And this one is our smallest one. Easy to hold in one hand. Don't really have to struggle to hold this guy. $35. So if you are interested, $45, $45, $35. How are we doing today? How is everyone's week? What are we up to? We're drawing close to the weekend. Does anyone have any plans? Full moon is on Monday for those who are celebrators. Same thing you can do with a crystal ball. Even though it is not a crystal, you can still put things out under the moon. So crystal ball could also do well with a little bit of full moon cleansing. So that is also a thing. So I'm more familiar with some skull scrying, so I'll show you guys what I mean by that. See if TikTok gets mad at me for showing this. So this guy right here, he is ethically sourced. No one come after me. He is a coyote, and one of the best ways to scry with a skull is to either focus on a part that doesn't have any flaws on it. So like here, or a big way that people do it is through this cranial cavity, right where the brain would sit. It helps you connect to the spirit of the animal that used to inhabit it. And there's also small little holes and shapes within the cranial cavity itself. So you can use that to scry. That is a really different and cool way to scry if you want to look at something that maybe has some texture to it, but it's also not super distracting because you can make out a lot in there, but it's, you have such a small area to look at. So skull scrying is also a thing. It helps you connect to the spirit of that animal to assist you in the scrying. You'll find that they tend to have their own personalities. So what one animal might do for you versus another animal might differ. So if you're reading for someone in particular and they kind of emanate more of a thank you for the follow, and they kind of emanate more of a, like, let's just say a quiet personality. I would use maybe not so much of an aggressive predatorial animal, maybe something more small, like a squirrel, raccoon, possum, something a little bit more docile, I guess. So it just depends. You go off the energy of that person. But if you guys are interested in this guy, he is craft grade. He does have a little bit of a hole in the side of his head here. So he is 35. He has been cleaned. So he has no yuck or anything on him. Do I have any questions about scrying? Anything that I've talked about so far? Have you had any, if you do scry, if you've done scrying before, have you had anything personally show up to you that was really cool or odd or different? Is that something that you have done before? Is it something that you're curious about? Let me know. Speaking of, if you are curious, if you want to know a little bit more about how to use the crystal balls in readings, this book right here goes through quite a few easy ways to go about scrying. It's not super information, like an information overload. It definitely has information in it. That's the whole point of a book. But it's not like where you're not going to understand what they're talking about. So it talks about grounding. That is something you definitely need to do when you scry. Again, it's if you are easily distracted, you're going to want to go where it's quiet. You're going to want to go where there's no distractions around you. Ultimately, it's a very relaxing experience if you can actually get into the state that you need to get into. So grounding is very important when it comes to scrying. It talks about so if you see certain animals. So for example, we've got, if a goat comes to your mind, well, I see a goat, what does that mean? It can represent resilience, versatility, and when in a reading on relationships, it can show the stubbornness way in which two people push each other's buttons. So it's cool because it also gives like I need help understanding what I just saw type of section. If you see a dog, it's a symbol of deep loyalty. to family or friends. It can represent a best friend. If you see a dress, it's usually a role of a woman, especially a married woman. If you see a uniform, it's usually a man, etc. So coins represent material wealth. So if any of these things flash in front of your brain or in front of your eyes while you are meditating with your crystal ball, you can kind of put together a story as to what the visions are telling you, right? So for example, there's it even has a whole section of example readings. Like if you see this, this, and this, what does this mean? It even has real life readings, like readings that someone's done and they explain what they saw and how they interpreted it. It shows you how to ground yourself, what you need to do, all the different steps, having your questions. So really, really, really cool. It also talks about how you also do not want to put it in the sun, right? Cover your crystal ball. But really good, easy read for those who are curious, trying to get into it, right? Hello, Sam. If you are interested, this one is $14.95. And then speaking of, since I went out and grabbed it, staring into a black mirror or speaking of, by the way, black mirror, for people who are like, I don't understand that. That right there, what I'm pointing at, right? That's a black mirror. It's obsidian. It mirrors back. I can look right into it, and even though it's black, I can see my reflection. Same thing with the black obsidian sphere. So exactly like how the crystal balls are, this is just black. Can still cast a reflection, but dark enough to where you can still look at it, basically look into the void. So you've got this one here, and this is a good way of deciphering if you would rather work with a black obsidian or a crystal ball. So if I look into a crystal ball where it's clear, I won't see myself, right? I'll see my hands, I can really see my fingers, like everything's magnified on the other side. But if I hold an obsidian sphere or a black mirror, it's going to reflect myself. So this is just, I can see my face, right? So it also depends on, do you want to have something reflected back to you? Are you okay with reading but also seeing yourself? For me personally, I think it would be a big distraction. I don't know if I could look into a black mirror or a obsidian crystal ball, but I might do better with something like this, where if I have it up perfectly and I look right into it, there's no distractions, just looking straight into glass. So it depends on what you like. If anyone is interested in the black obsidian crystal ball, he is $50, and that right there is actual obsidian. So again, crystal balls are glass. The obsidian scrying mirror and the obsidian crystal ball are actual real obsidian. And then speaking of, this right here is a scrying mirror. Black scrying mirror with the moon phases around the outside. So she is pretty to display. A little bit bigger than this one here, and she is not obsidian. I don't know actually what she is, but I'm going to say she feels like resin, but still reflective nonetheless. If anyone is interested in her, she is 30. And if anyone is interested in this black mirror, scrying mirror, I really don't want to put my fingerprints all over it. It will come with this box so that we can, it comes with the box, it comes with the stand. And this one is 30. Not as big, but this is, again, real obsidian. Like, reflects you guys right back, right? So yeah, really, really, really nice. I know one of our readers got himself one. We had, I think, 2 or 3. So they are a popular scrying choice, again, if you're okay with having things reflected back to you. You can also use, speaking of reflecting things back, you can also use the black obsidian mirrors, or mirrors in general, because you can also, we have a mirror. We have a really big circular mirror here. She is 14 inches, and hello everyone. And she is $6. You can also use mirrors to scry. Again, depends on what you like. Black obsidian can be used to return things to sender. So if you put someone's picture and or name on a black mirror and reflect or write down a list of things that they have done to you that you want them to see for themselves, that is a way of also using black mirrors. It's reflecting things back to someone, making them think about the actions that they've done, the consequences of their actions, right? So it's just helping people see the damage that they've caused, maybe the self-destructing behaviors that they are casting on themselves. You can use black mirrors for that as well. So, again, this guy's 30. He comes with the box, and he comes with his stand. And again, real black obsidian. This is that ink I was telling you guys about in the beginning. So you can add this ink to water to turn it black, which will then basically turn water into that black mirror right there. Again, if you're distracted by ripples, if you want to go straight into scrying, sometimes the ripples can become, almost looks like a black hole. It really does. It's like it's a void. It is a little mini void. But you can add these as well to that, which is really cool. Yeah. You can add it to resin, charcoal, water. It was made, this ink itself was made during a void full moon and intended for ritual use. And it's made with not handmade. This is handmade, but it's made with natural ingredients. I also have this book here, and it's sat here for so long, but it's super pretty. First off, I'm obsessed with the cover. And it talks about developing clairvoyance with a crystal ball. Hello. Hi, Trevor. It's about time you showed up. I've been talking to myself for the past 30 minutes. But this book here talks about how to develop clairvoyance with the crystal balls, how to the different methods of crystal gazing, how to apparently methods for healing with a crystal ball, which I don't know anything about that. So that's interesting to me. Ways to divine with water, which is exactly what I told you guys about when it comes to putting water in a bowl and scrying with water. And different types and uses of crystal balls and how to explore past, present, and future with a crystal ball. You might be late, but you're worth the wait. Okay. You're so funny. It talks about crystal bowls, which we don't have, and not singing bowls. These are crystal bowls that you would use for the divination, like putting water into them. There is a lot. This one, I would say, is definitely more information packed than the crystal ball reading for beginners. If you want to know more than just the bare minimum, this book would be awesome for you. We're going to look through it real quick. We're going to see what we got going on in here. So this part is about how to perform the crystal ball gazing. Oh, how cool. So, for example, we've got cloudiness or mistiness indicates the appearance of images soon within the ball. So if you're looking into it and you see things start to get a little cloudy, a little hazy, usually images will start coming. We've got a new sparkle or light within the crystal may appear just prior to the images. Sometimes the crystal ball becomes dark just before the images and visions begin. So there's a lot of ways that you'll be like, are things coming? Talks about colors as well. If you see colors when you're looking into the crystal ball, what the different colors mean. Timing, so how long in between seeing images. Healing. The healing part I find very interesting. But that is reading for a different day. But it goes right into, the whole spinal contracts of the chakras. So you can even do healing with crystal balls, which is really cool. I had no idea about that. This does have a little bit more than just crystal ball knowledge in it. It talks about like elixirs and stuff as well as a little bit of chakra learning. It also has a quick section on pendulums if you guys are interested in how to work with pendulums. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Again, not just crystal balls, but if you want to know about crystal balls and ways that you can use them other than just scrying, this one here. Again, it's so pretty. I've always even before I started working here and I saw this book, I was like, wow, this is a really pretty book. She's thick. She's a big read. But she is $17.99 for those who are interested in that one. And I have gone over everything on the table here. So, does anyone have any questions? Anything you want me to show again? I will gladly do so. Comments, questions, concerns? I guess while we got this moment of quiet, what am I talking about? What do we got going on? Oh, I'm going to drop it again. Wine and Spirits, September 14th. Start over because I was late. No. Here's the thing. the thing with scrying is I don't have a whole lot of experience in it other than the select few things that I've done. I wish I had someone who like is really deeply involved with scrying and like who primarily knows how to do it. I can tell you how to do it. Um, I've tried it. Like I said, I've done it with different things. Not necessarily straight black mirror or crystal ball, but some sort of knowledge in it, right? My brain has a hard time concentrating and focusing. I think the hardest thing I have in that I was that I struggle with is grounding. So when a main part of scrying is grounding, um, I need to really work on that. Otherwise, scrying just will not come easy, and I think I'll end up getting frustrated. Also, there is never peace and quiet in my home with the cat that I have. I know I would get pulled out of my trance-like state relatively quickly. For those of you who do not know, I have a cat. Her name is Blaze, and I love her to death, but she is the most vocal cat I have ever met in my life. She's been in my life for almost she's been around, oh my gosh, for a long time. She's been my childhood cat, and she's still trucking along. But man, she is loud and wants attention all the time. There's no way. I'd have to be like, okay, she's sleeping. I can start scrying now and just have to cross my fingers and hope that she doesn't wake up and start meowing me to death. But Trevor, quick synopsis. We were just talking about scrying. Scrying is basically grounding yourself and being able to look into a object. I was explaining it in the beginning where you can look up at the clouds and see shapes in the clouds. Hi, Tom. Yeah, that's basically her. You can look up at the clouds and see shapes in the clouds. Like when we were kids and you're like, oh, like that looks like that and that looks like that. That is a form of scrying. Same thing with looking into a fire. You know, people kind of get into a trance-like state when they look into a fire. And you can kind of begin to see shapes if you kind of zone out enough, basically. I say it's a form of disassociation because you quiet everything down and you focus on one thing. The only thing with disassociation is that, you know, sometimes your brain isn't there and it kind of shuts off for that split second. You need your brain to somewhat be within focus for you to scry, right? She is a princess. I love her. No, I'm like, I love my cat. She does not allow me peace and quiet. But it can definitely be like, again, a very relaxing experience. Sometimes you don't even need to look into it to see anything. You might want to just sit there with a crystal ball and look into it and just let your mind just chill. Let everything kind of quiet down, and see what you want to see and just see what happens. She is a very loud princess. Your brain's not present. Okay. Bye, Tom. Disassociation, Tom. That's when your brain's not present. You got to have your brain for scrying, at least a little bit. It's a whole party over there on Facebook. TikTok, you guys are failing me today. And I don't even have anybody from Twitch. Where's my Twitch people? Where's my YouTube people? Where is everybody? I get it. Scrying is one of those topics where you're either into it or you're not. So I completely understand that it might not be a topic that anyone understands or cares to know about. Hello.
I might need to steal. He's got it.
Oh,
Somebody is asking.
oh, okay.
How convenient.
Well, anyway. So that's funny. Someone was in the store and was looking for a black scrying mirror. He is 35.
35.
Yes.
Okay.
And he comes with the stand.
Oh, and these are.
So anyway, the black mirror is gone. So how heavy is the obsidian ball compared to the glass ones? Obsidian is, good question. I wish I had we had big black obsidian balls that were about the size of the clear ones. Honestly, I want to say they are about the same because obsidian is just volcanic glass. So it's I want to say if I feel this versus the obsidian that I've held, it's about the same when it comes to heaviness. Glass is pretty light. So yeah, obsidian is just volcanic glass, natural glass. So I'd say they're about the same. This guy right here is pretty light. But if I were to grab a quartz piece that's about this big, the quartz is heavier. Okay. Any last requests, comments, concerns, questions? I've got people viewing on TikTok, so that's good. Because earlier TikTok was like, absolutely not. Again, big crystal balls are $45. They come with the stand. The smallest one, the one being up front on the little zodiac stand, is $35. None we can say on here. I can't with you. Yeah, see, I'm excited to have you for the Wine and Spirits event. That'll be fun. The obsidian ball is $50. And I didn't talk about this guy. Well, I did, but he is $18 for the Scrying ink. Skull is $35. If you still want a black mirror, it's not obsidian, but she is $30. And then the books are in the $17 range. Big mirror is $6. You want to learn what to do with the cards, skulls. You want to learn what I do with the cards and skulls? Practice, I guess. I found something that works, and it works well for me. What Trevor is talking about is I do Lenormand and oracle readings, but then I also am a crystal skull communicator. So I receive spiritual messages through the crystal skulls. So how some people say they receive messages from spirit or their guides, I receive them specifically from the skulls. So yeah, they tell me things sometimes, Trevor. They tell me things. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Like I had a reading over last weekend where I was like, I keep seeing centipedes. I don't know why. And the client basically said that they had been seeing centipedes more often, funny enough. And you just kind of go off of, okay, well, what does a centipede symbolize? So they were showing me something and we just kind of dig into, okay, what does that thing mean? So They show me colors a majority of the time, pictures, like images in my head. They repeat words a lot. Like sometimes they'll just I did a reading for this one girl one day, and the one skull was just like, I like her. I like her. I like her. I'm like, okay. And then they won't be quiet until I tell that person what I need to tell them. So I was like, by the way, she likes you a lot. And then she quiets. So yeah, that's kind of a deep dive, I guess, into what I do. But no scrying, not for me. Yeah, I blend Lenormand and Oracle together. I like working with Lenormand cards over tarot as of right now. So yeah, another divination method. There's a lot of different ways, right? There's lesser known ones, less common ones, but still really, really cool and impressive nonetheless. And again, there is a way for everybody out there to find something that works for them. So just because maybe the cards don't work for you, or just because you've tried tarot and you've tried, Oracle and you just don't like it, doesn't mean that Lenormand might not work for you, or might work for you, or Kipper. There's different types of cards. Maybe you do better visually, and you should try bone throwing or charm casting or like a junk oracle. There's a bunch of different ways. If you are a well-grounded person, if you see things in your mind's eye a lot, scrying. You might be better at scrying than someone who needs to touch things more physically, or needs to see pictures. So lots of different ways to divinate. Speaking of that, here's my plug, and then I'm going to get out of here. So Wine and Spirits, that is September 14th. It will be at Wagner's in Westlake. We rent out a whole ballroom, right? There's several different ballrooms. It's Wine and Spirits, so wine will be available, food is available. This is our event. This is what we host. So we go hard. We want things to be a fun time. We want it to be a party. We want everybody to have the best time that they can. So bunch of vendors. I think we're up to 20 vendors right now. So a bunch of different small businesses that will be coming in to sell their products. And I don't know how many readers we have, but I know we have a lot. And speaking of all the different things that they do, that we have someone that's a animal communicator. We have a bunch of tarot readers, crystal healings. I said animal communication. Did I say animal communication? Animal communication. We have a tea leaf reader. We've got Lenormand, Oracle, psychic mediums, psychic intuitives. We've got a lot of different people, a lot of very talented people in one space. So you can experience all the different forms of divination in one place. So that, again, is September 14th. If anybody is a business owner or a small business owner, if you are crafty and you are local to the area, we are still looking for vendors. So if you have anything that you wish to sell, you can go onto our Facebook page, onto our events page, click on the Wine and Spirits event, and in the description page, at the very bottom, there will be a job form that you can fill out to send us your application. We are currently not taking any more jewelry vendors. We have a lot and we want it to be fair. So no more jewelry, but we are open to anything else that you have to offer. So yeah. Other than that that is all I got for you guys. If you are interested in anything that we have on the table, you can send us a message even when the live is over, so long as I still have it, because you got to witness something leave the table that was wanted in the store. So other than that, thanks for coming by. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. And I believe we have a live tomorrow at 1:30 with Emily. And our next live sale will be next Thursday. Same time, same channel. And I will see you guys then. Have a great one.